Hello, lovely people. Welcome to today's episode of Reality TV News. Reminding you, we post videos daily, so if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss any important update. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on all the recent reports swirling around Denise Richards.
Yeah, there's quite a bit happening there. Her show, her personal life.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack the first big thing. Reports say Denise Richards and her wild things. Well, it's not returning for a second season. It just premiered back in March.
And this illustrates something interesting about Bravo shows. We often assume they'll run for years, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But sources close to this one are apparently saying it was always intended to be just one season.
Always just one season. That clashes a bit with what fans might expect.
Because of the timing with the divorce news.
Right. That's where it gets really interesting. This news, or this report about it only being one season, it lands right when we hear Denise and Aaron Pfeiffers are divorcing. He filed, apparently. They only got married in 2018.
And that timing makes everyone assume, well, maybe a second season would have covered the split.
So, if the show was always planned as a single season, why do you think there was that assumption? Is it just audience expectation wanting the drama?
I think it's partly that, yeah. It really illuminates this tightrope walk for reality stars. You have a plan for the show, maybe, but then real life happens of divorce, something major, and suddenly the audience expects that story. Producers then have to figure out how to react, how to make it compelling TV. It's always a negotiation.
So given all that, what's the deal with Denise and Bravo now? Specifically, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Could she go back?
Well, that's the big question floating around.
Because they are filming season 15 right now, aren't they? And everyone's back except Garcelle Beauvais. Plus, some RHOBH ladies were on her Wild Things.
Precisely. And, you know, reports suggest that while Denise isn't currently filming for RHOBH, it's not entirely off the table.
Oh, so they could still call her in?
Sources connected to the show are saying producers haven't reached out yet. But crucially, they've also been told, you know, don't rule it out. A major life event like a divorce, that's potential content, a potential storyline they might want to capture, even mid-season.
So that door isn't fully closed then. Interesting.
Yeah.
What about Denise herself? Has she said anything about the divorce or the show ending?
Publicly, not a word. Complete silence on both fronts, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Her latest social media post was from the 4th of July. Just a picture of her in a bikini. Holiday vibes, caption red, white, and a little bit ooh la la.
Okay.
Which, you know, illuminates how celebrities manage their image. Big life changes happening behind the scenes, but the public face remains curated, controlled. It leaves fans guessing.
That curated presence is common. But for someone who's literally put their life on reality TV, does that silence feel even louder, maybe? Does it just make people speculate more?
Oh, absolutely. That silence can create a kind of vacuum, can't it? And fans, the audience, they rush in to fill it with theories in a way that keeps the conversation going, which might even be beneficial in the long run for staying relevant. Next, we are going to talk about a recent revelation from the world of reality TV, specifically concerning Scheana Shay from Vanderpump Rules. Our deep dive today unpacks some details from her upcoming memoir, My Good Side, which is due out later this month. Our mission is really to illuminate a pretty significant personal confession from her husband, Brock Davies, that actually came to light under some, well, truly unexpected circumstances.
Yeah, it's quite something. What's emerged is Scheana confirming that Brock, who's 35, did cheat on her. And this was back in 2022 while she was pregnant with her daughter, Summer Moon, who's now 4.
Right. And what's particularly striking, I guess, is the timing. Brock waited until March 2023 to confess. That was after the whole Scandival thing broke, you know, with Tom Sandoval and Raquel Leviss. That just completely rocked their world. So how did that specific timing, according to Scheana's book, influence his decision to finally, you know, come clean?
Well, he apparently admitted that all the fake news flying around during Scandival made him want to share his true story. He felt it was better she heard it directly from him rather than risking it surfacing some other way amidst all that chaos.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How a public scandal like Scandival became this, like, unexpected catalyst for Scheana's own world to just shatter. She depicts how it forced her to question possibilities she might have initially just dismissed, even after brushing off earlier rumors about Brock.
Exactly, and this clarifies maybe why she revisited those doubts. There were other sort of blind items going around before, you know, those anonymous gossip bits about Brock maybe dating a woman in San Diego right around when he first met Scheana. There were even claims this woman helped him pack for that Australia trip where things got official with Scheana. But Scheana, at the time, she apparently believed Brock when he denied it all.
Okay, so how does she set the scene for the actual confession? When did it happen?
She describes it happening just after Easter. They were getting ready to just relax, wind down with an episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, actually. And Brock said he needed to talk, and she immediately sensed something was really off. He confessed that back when it happened, he was terrified about being a father again, like questioning if he even deserved to be. And he admitted he chose to deal with those fears by sleeping with someone else.
Wow. Her memoir really brings to life those emotions she must have felt. She evokes anger, sadness, hurt, and she mentions this deep fury, especially at the thought he was with another woman while she was carrying his child. What was her immediate reaction, like physically?
Oh, it was visceral. She recounts slapping him. And then she threw a Rubik's Cube in his direction. Apparently, he dodged it. But what's really telling, she says, the Rubik's Cube itself, and even just mentioning an F-45 gem, that's where he reconnected with the woman, those things still trigger her even now. It just demonstrates those lasting, almost physical reminders of that kind of betrayal.
And then there's that detail about the phone.
Right. Another layer. He used a completely separate work phone. That was the only way he communicated with this other woman.
So what other specifics came out in this confession? Did he offer more details later?
He did. He apparently wrote her a letter later on after running into some old friends at a festival in San Diego, which kind of brought it all back up for him. And Scheana says the letter contained, quote, more specifics than she ever wanted. Things like how many times they'd slept together and where. He did confirm it wasn't in their house and stressed it was purely physical. Always use protection.
And adding insult to injury, didn't she mention something about the letter itself?
Yeah, apparently the spelling errors in the letter really irritated her. She saw it as just another sign of his carelessness through it all. And there's one more detail that's particularly painful. Scheana illuminates that during her second trimester, when she was feeling sexually stimulated, as she put it, Brock wouldn't sleep with her. He said he was afraid. And she writes that it just killed her confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It really underscores the deep emotional toll this took on her, especially during such a vulnerable time. Next, we are going to talk about the Valley's ring allegations.
Ah, yes, the Jason Caperna ring situation.
Exactly. So this really kicked off on the Valley, when Kristen Doty brought up that rumor that Jason supposedly takes his wedding ring off when he goes out.
Right, and Jason and Janet Caperna were very quick to deny that vehemently.
They were. But then things took a turn, didn't they, with Jeremy Madix?
Oh, absolutely. Jeremy, Ariana Madix's brother, he basically jumped in and said, look, this is not a rumor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he clarified, saying he literally watched him take his ring off at Just In Case I Was Talking to a Girl at the bar years ago.
Years ago. So this wasn't like new gossip.
Apparently not. Jeremy saying he saw it firsthand. That kind of illuminates why Kristen might have brought it up. It wasn't just out of thin air. It ships it from hearsay to, well, an alleged eyewitness account.
That is a huge detail, but where did the rumor even start? Before Jeremy's story, Danny Bucco shed some light on that, right?
He did. Danny explained that Jasmine, who's described as a close friend of Jason's, was the one who originally heard it.
Okay.
And apparently she still stands by it, claims she has multiple sources confirming it. It really brings to life how these things can simmer for a while.
Multiple sources. Interesting. And Jasmine's side of it.
Well, Jasmine's perspective is that she heard this years back at a birthday party.
Right.
And importantly, she heard it from people Jason had apparently had a falling out with. She even mentioned that a lot of things were said back then.
So potentially some bad blood involved in the origin.
Potentially, yeah. And social media just fans the flames, doesn't it?
It really does. And then Luke Broderick got involved, too, trying to, stop Kristen from saying it on camera.
Yeah, Luke tried to step in. He wanted to check the story first, apparently. He even sent a friend request to the person who supposedly started it all.
Trying to verify? Makes sense.
But Janet didn't see it that way. She interpreted it as him trying to dig up information.
Oof. So his attempt to mediate kind of backfired.
Totally.
Okay, next update we have about Jesse Lally's WWHL Confessions and Controversies. Moving from one hot topic to another, Jesse Lally's appearance on Watch What Happens Live. He definitely had a lot to say.
He really did. He started off defending Danny Bucco, regarding Janet Caperna's sexual assault claim.
Right. What was his take?
Jesse was pretty firm, called Danny an incredible person, an amazing father, amazing husband, and said he believes Danny has taken accountability.
Taking a strong stance publicly.
Very strong. And interestingly, he connected it to this idea that really only Danny, his family, and the others actually involved should even be talking about it. Yeah, he basically said everyone else shouldn't open their mouth about it anymore.
Trying to shut down the commentary. Protect Danny, maybe.
Seems like it. But it also feels like trying to control the narrative, like who gets to speak on these things. It's tricky.
Definitely. And he didn't stop with Danny, did he? He went after Scheana Shay.
Oh, yeah. He accused Scheana of, quote, weaponizing his daughter, Isabella, and even the tragic situation with Isabella's grandmother passing away.
Weaponizing. How so?
He claimed she did it for attention and to create some storyline. That's a heavy accusation, using family tragedy for TV drama.
It is. Did he offer his side of the Isabella story?
He did. He clarified his perspective. Said Michelle, his ex, had planned a trip to Europe and initially wanted to drop Isabella off with her sister, who was providing hospice care at the time.
Okay.
But Jesse said he offered to take Isabella for 2 weeks instead, so Michelle could still go on her trip.
And he wasn't exactly thrilled about Scheana and Lala Kent appearing on the Valley either.
Not at all. He made it pretty clear, said he did not want them on. No ambiguity there.
And then he talked about his ex-wife, Michelle Sané, admitted his part in the marriage ending, but also had some things to say about her.
Yeah, he acknowledged his role, but then stated Michelle is trying to constantly create narratives.
Ouch.
And he suggested she needs to apologize to herself and just be a little bit more free and a little bit more fun. Sounds like a lot of unresolved stuff there.
It really does. What about her new boyfriend, Aaron Nosler?
Jesse mentioned they had some positive progress on a trip to Maui, which is interesting.
Okay, so maybe things are thawing.
Maybe. But he also doubled down on his belief that Michelle and Aaron had an emotional connection during his marriage that he felt was inappropriate, even if not physical.
That's always complex.
Especially under the reality TV microscope, yeah.
And finally, his thoughts on Jax Taylor. He was asked about Tom Schwartz saying Jax hadn't changed despite sobriety.
Right, and Jesse's response was quite poignant, actually. He said, 20 years of drugs and alcohol, maybe give him 20 years, suggesting that a few years sober might not undo decades of patterns. It's a sobering thought, pardon the pun.
Let's shift now to Kim Zolciak and her daughter Brielle Biermann, getting really candid on botched presents. Plastic Surgery Rewind.
Yeah, that show's premise clarifies it's about celebs known for surgery looking back, maybe even considering reversals, and just evaluating the impact it's all had.
And Kim and Brielle had specific reasons for going on.
They did. Brielle was apparently unhappy with some under-eye filler, calling it puffy and uneven. She said she's gone through so much with this face.
Sounds like she's had some regrets.
Seems that way. And Kim was there wanting to address loose skin, after weight loss and going through her divorce. So tied to big life changes for her.
Brielle's list of procedures sounded pretty long. Lip enhancements, Botox, a new jaw.
Yeah, she mentioned countless lip procedures, Botox, and getting a whole new jaw that gave her a whole new face. But now she's apparently looking for a better, softer, more natural look.
A shift in perspective. And she started really young, right?
Very young. Got her lips done at 18. And Dr. Terry DuBril in the show actually cautioned about that.
What did he say?
He said doctors doing fillers on really young people should think twice because it can actually make a young person look significantly older in the long run.
It's a strong warning.
Totally. And Kim's history. She's been open about procedures, too.
Yeah, the mommy makeover back in 2014, breast lift, tummy tuck, plus other breast work, lip filler, Botox.
Right. And her justification or framing was that she sacrificed my body for 6 incredible humans, sort of reclaiming her body post-motherhood.
It's a common feeling. But Brielle grew up seeing all this.
Exactly. That's what's insightful. Brielle said she used to go with Kim to appointments. It made it seem totally normal.
Like part of the routine.
Yeah, she said filler became like going and getting a Diet Coke. Driven by insecurity growing up on TV, she even mentioned getting free procedures from social media deals.
Wow. Moving on to Larsa Pippen. There's buzz about her new relationship and some pointed comments she made.
Right. Her relationship with Jeff Coby seems to be evolving.
Yeah, Larsa's 51, Jeff's 31. She describes him as family-oriented and kind. And she mentioned keeping it quiet at first after the very public breakup with Marcus Jordan.
Makes sense. But they're clearly more open now. The big news is the talk about engagement rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Larsa revealed Jeff's been asking her about diamond shapes. She likes brilliant cut or an oval. That definitely demonstrates things are getting serious.
That's a significant step. And how does Jeff get along with her kids? That seemed to be an issue before with Marcus.
Apparently, it's a total contrast. Larsa highlighted that Jeff and her son, Scotty Jr., have the best relationship. They play board games, talk basketball.
That must be a huge relief for her. Family approval matters.
It seems crucial. And interestingly, Larsa's praise for Jeff connects directly to some shade she threw recently.
Shade. At who?
At Lisa Hochstein and her boyfriend Jody Glidden.
Okay, what happened?
Larsa was furious that Lisa let Jody hang out with Marcus Jordan after Marcus apparently bashed Larsa post-breakup.
Ah, the loyalty test.
Exactly. Larsa said it's a man's job to make you and your friends feel safe, basically implying Jeff is protective in a way Jody wasn't by associating with Marcus. It depicts her view on friendship and partner loyalty pretty clearly.
Wow, drawing a direct comparison. So things seem solid with Jeff then.
Seems that way. She just celebrated her 51st birthday with him and friends, very much presenting a united front.
Okay, let's turn now to Charlie Zakkour from Next Gen NYC. Some stuff from his past has surfaced.
Yeah, news of an old arrest came out back in March 2014 in Miami Beach.
What were the charges?
Trespassing and cannabis possession. He was released on bond, pleaded not guilty later that year.
And what happened with the case?
It was eventually discharged, listed as null prosequi, which means prosecutors declined to pursue it, but technically could recharge later. This came out after we already knew about his 2014 bankruptcy, too.
So a bit of a pattern of past issues coming to light now that he's on TV.
Often how it works. And it's not just the past record. His behavior on the show has been controversial, too.
Right, the accusations of microaggressions against Riley Burris.
Exactly. Riley felt he was painting a narrative that she was a scary black girl. That's obviously a really loaded and serious thing.
Definitely. And there was that fight with Georgia McCann.
Oh, yeah. That argument brings his on-screen temper to life. He called her a stupid, delusional bletch.
Whoa.
And said, if you were a man, I'd slap you in the face right now. All apparently because she didn't return his speakers promptly.
Yikes. That's incredibly aggressive language.
It is. So you have this past arrest, the bankruptcy, the microaggression claims, and this really volatile argument caught on camera. It definitely raises questions for viewers.
Yes, serious questions about his character are definitely swirling online. Switching gears completely, let's talk about Summer House alum Paige DeSorbo. Rumors about her love life continue.
The latest is she was supposedly seen in Capri, Italy, holding hands with her rumored boyfriend, Joe D'Amelio.
Capri. Very romantic. She was there on her family vacation, right?
Yeah, her annual trip. But the interesting thing is, Paige keeps denying they're dating.
Still? Even with sightings like this?
Yep. She insists she's been single since splitting with Craig Conover last November. So we have these reports versus her public statements.
The classic reality TV mystery. Wasn't there a Dumois report, too?
There was. Claimed they had a photo of Paige and Joe looking undeniably coupled up, very much together. But the photo wasn't shared publicly.
Adding fuel to the fire without proof? Have they been spotted before?
Allegedly, yes. At a Philadelphia Eagles game back in January, possibly trips to New Orleans for the Super Bowl, Miami. An insider claimed back in March they were still dating.
So, a pattern of alleged sightings, despite her denials.
And Paige isn't returning to Summer House for season 10, so we won't see it play out there.
Right. And quick update on Craig.
He confirmed he's single, said he briefly saw Natalie Buffett again, but realized he wasn't ready to date and needed some healing to do.
Sounds like everyone's figuring things out. Okay, let's wrap up with Stephanie Shojaee, the newcomer on Real Housewives of Miami, and her Watch What Happens live debut. She was pretty candid.
Very candid. She started by admitting she only met Nicole Martin, who's engaged to Stephanie's ex, Anthony Lopez, after the season finished filming.
Clearing that up.
Yeah.
But she didn't hold back on her opinions of the cast, did she?
Not at all. She directly eliminated her feelings about Alexia and Nepola. Said she doesn't like that Alexia is always reminding us that she's the star.
Ooh.
And then added, I don't think so. Pretty direct challenge to the OG status.
Wow, bold move for a newbie. What else?
She expressed surprise about Alexia still having a physical relationship with her ex, Todd Nepola. Stephanie's advice: move on.
Straight shooter. Any thoughts on Gertie Abrera?
Yep. She criticized Gertie for holding grudges too long, advised her to forgive, forget, move on. Stephanie feels Gertie's issue is really deep.
Suggesting it's more than just surface drama.
Right. It kind of depicts how holding on to conflict can become almost strategic on these shows, even if Stephanie sees it as unhealthy. Keeps you in the storyline, maybe?
True. Anyone else can I mention?
Julia Lemegova. Stephanie said she's always stirring the pot out of nowhere.
Okay. And what about Lisa Hochstein saying Stephanie doesn't have many friends?
Stephanie actually agreed she doesn't have a huge circle, but said it's not a bad thing, and she firmly denied being under Larsa's spell.
What, she likes Larsa?
Yeah, said she loves Larsa and they really bonded, but she's not under anyone's spell. She did joke she might be under her husband Masood Shojaee's spell.
Huh. Any other tidbits?
She revealed she's social media friends with Tamra Judge from RHOC. Interesting cross-franchise connection.
Always fun to see those. And her approach to joining the show.
She mentioned she didn't watch RHM before joining and doesn't regret going in blind.
Really? Why not?
She felt if she had watched, she would have been more judgy and maybe less open to making the friendships she did. It highlights her desire for authentic connection, maybe.
Interesting take. Definitely came in making waves.